Space, the final frontier. Join us for a bold conversation. Our prime directive: to recap our favorite Star Trek shows, both new and old. To engage in debate about all things Trek. Prepare to energize with phasers set to stun.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to an all-new episode of Phasers Set to Stun, where we continue to show our love for everything Star Trek. In this ongoing series from a Film by podcast, focusing on every system of the expanding Star Trek universe by covering television, movies, animation, directors, merchandise, and much, much more. Plotting your course on this voyage is your ever-loving Trek crew. I'm Wayne Whited.
I'm David Burns.
And today we are going to violate the Prime Directive and travel back to 2013.
Wait, hold on. We have a hailing. Someone's hailing us.
Well, let's take this message. Let's put him on. Hello, you're on the air.
Permission to come aboard, Captain. This is Jason Coslet, Lieutenant from the USS Saratoga.
And as you hear, we have a special guest today. Scott Hoffman is currently on shore leave, and you are listening to Jason Coslet. He is a huge Star Trek fan like ourselves and has been a follower of a Film by podcast for a long time now, so it's great to finally have him on the show.
Yes, it is. Welcome, Jason. Welcome to the bridge.
Thank you so much for having me. I very much appreciate it. The honor is all mine.
Well,
absolutely all mine.
Yeah, hopefully we can have some good conversation here about this film.
We will.
Because
absolutely.
we are talking about the second film of the Kelvin Timeline. It is the 12th film in the Star Trek film franchise. It is, of course, Star Trek Into Darkness, a film directed by J.J. Abrams from a script by writers Roberto Orci, Alex Kurtzman, and Damien Lindelof. All right, David, why don't you start us off with a short summary to remind us exactly what happened in this film?
Beyond the darkness lies greatness. A terrorist attack occurs in London at a secret base that sends ripples throughout all of Starfleet. It is quickly uncovered who is responsible for it. Kirk and Spock, along with Enterprise, are sent to destroy him in a place they least expected to go, the home world of the Klingons. However, as Kirk captures this man, it is realized just how deep the treachery goes, to the very core of Starfleet and its high-ranking officials. But that is not all. This person who is responsible for the attack holds a secret himself, a name that many will know, a name new to this Kirk, but one that runs deep within Star Trek. And that name is Khan.
Now, this film was released on May 15th, 2013, produced on a budget of $190 million, and bringing in the box office total of $467.4 million, which makes it the highest grossing film of the franchise. Now, for me, this was the first Star Trek film that I didn't see in the theater since Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
What?
The only one before that was Star Trek The Motion Picture, and that was because I was really young at the time when it came out.
I'll give you that one.
But I didn't go see this in the theater, and I'm going to be honest, I just wasn't that excited for it. From the pre-publicity and the trailers and stuff and everything that was talked, because it was revealed very early on who the villain was, and I was not crazy about this new universe walking over the previous Star Trek stuff.
Here's the funny thing for me, Wayne. They beat around the bush for a while about admitting Khan was going to be in this. And everybody knew it was going to be freaking Khan. I called it. Even walking out of seeing the first film, when I knew they were going to do a second one, I had a feeling they were going to go the same route and they were going to bring Khan into this. I wish they had gone a different route with the sequel. I will admit it. When I did see this in the theater, I was kind of like, I didn't know which way to go with it, okay? I was kind of aggravated because I love The Wrath of Khan so much that I felt like they were stepping on the toes of the original crew. And when you get, and I'm sure we'll get to it eventually when we talk about the film, and I'm curious about what Jason's going to say, but when they did the reversal effect, where Kirk is the one who dies and saves the ship, and it's not Spock, and then Spock is the one who says Khan. When I saw that in the theater for the first time, I was like, man, I'm very aggravated by this. I'm not a fan at all. And when I walked out of the theater, I was okay with the film. I thought it was entertaining, and I didn't see it again until I just watched it for this podcast, because I had put it off that I did not want to see it again. But I will say, watching it again for the first time since I saw it back in, 2013?
Yeah.
I was more entertained this time, because I guess I kind of let the things go about. I still aggravated by it, don't get me wrong, because I love the Wrath of Khan.
Amen.
But I kind of let that go a little bit, and I was a lot more entertained this time around, because the special effects were fantastic. The score was really, really good. And we'll get more into those details in a little bit. But I'm curious what Jason has to say about his thoughts.
Yeah, let's hear that.
Okay, so I will just come out and say I am not a fan of reboots. I am not a fan of remakes. Don't mess with it if it ain't broke. See Planet of the Apes. See what the hell did they do to my Exorcist movies?
Yes.
So that said, I was not big on this film the first time that I saw it. Now, since, in order to prepare to talk to you guys and not sound like a total moron, I've watched it like 3 different times in the past, couple of days. And like you guys, as I said, I wasn't real big on it the first time I saw it. But when I rewatched it, it was just a case of, okay, open mind, total focus, forget about what you know. Forget about what you know, because I tried to let go, because I hated the first film because, as you said, they peed all over Star Trek. I'm sorry, they pissed all over it. And I was not happy about that in the slightest. That said, though, I tried to let all that go and just total open mind, focus. I literally sat in front of my telly alone, kicked everybody out of the house, turned the TV all the way up, and just gave myself a private theater experience. And just allowed myself to get immersed in it and enjoyed it so much more. And I watched it again last night before I went to bed again, and just totally allowed myself to get immersed in it and what creative things that they did do with it, as opposed to how they were peeing on the Star Trek that we all know and love. And we all know Khan's a maniac. We all know he's a psycho, super genetically altered human being, so on, so on, so on. But they did so many more interesting things with him in this film. And it really was amazing. I enjoyed the fact that he went to Kronos. It was cool. Klingons before, Kirk met the Klingons. I love the fact that Uhura could already speak Klingon, which was very interesting to me. So yeah, a lot of the little nods, and of course, as you said, the effects were beyond belief. And again, I thought it was a very well-written story, even if it did maybe take a few things from some of the older Star Trek concepts. But overall, as I said, when I rewatched it, I enjoyed it much more than the first time I saw it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as both of you. Of course, I have the ability, I can separate this film from the original. I just look at it, it's an alternate universe. So I don't put any expectations on how it's supposed to look. But after the first one, which I really enjoyed the first one, after settling in my mind that this isn't the same as the original Star Trek that I'm used to. This is a new version. This is an alternate version. I had a lot of high hopes. There's so many places this film franchise can go. It's been a long time since we'd seen, Kirk, Spock, McCoy in the Enterprise, and especially young. I mean, think the stories are endless. So here we are, second film, lots of expectations, and then what do we get? We get a rehash.
Yep.
And I don't understand.
And that was my thought as well.
Why? I mean, why are you doing this? What is the point of bringing all these familiar stuff? Especially why do we have Khan? There's just so much more they could have done.
I agree. And there's another thing.
It just fell flat for me.
It did. And there's another thing that really aggravated me too, is you don't have the history of Kirk and Khan here at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
that's another thing I loved about The Wrath of Khan, because you already had that history between those two. So when Kirk discovers in the Wrath of Khan that it's Khan, I mean, that was powerful. You know, in this, whatever, he's just another villain. You know, that it didn't have that connection that the Wrath of Khan had.
Must agree.
Yeah, because they barely touched on it. I mean, they really barely touched on his past and the whole thing with eugenics wars, or I don't even know if they even mentioned the eugenics war. I watched this.
They very vaguely mentioned it. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you.
No,
tiny touch base on it. They did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's just like a passing mention. You know, there's no background, and this Khan is so different from what we saw before that it just. Why can't it just be a different character?
Agreed.
It doesn't make any sense why they had to make.
I would agree.
Now, I don't want to take anything away from Benedict Cumberbatch, because he did a fantastic job in his performance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The scene is one of my favorite scenes. I'm going to give it away. Is when he is talking to Kirk about, you know, the loss of his people, and he's crying about it. You see the passion that why he cares about them so much, and it makes you almost feel for the villain here. And as we know, anytime you feel for the villain and you care about them, it makes them more powerful and gets you involved in the story more. So I did like that aspect.
That was awesome. That, again, I'm with you. That is one of my favorite scenes as well. That was so powerful. It was Benedict Cumberbatch really knocked it out of the park on that one.
Yep. Which would have been even more powerful had they not made the character Khan and we hadn't already known that Khan is evil. You know,
there is that, yes, sir.
Yeah, if they would have made him a different character, that would have even had an incredibly more stronger impact.
It's funny, I hate to admit it, but when he finally said his name, I rolled my eyes in the theater.
Yeah.
Amen.
Really
Say it again. Say it again. The first time I saw it, I'm like, oh my Jesus.
Yeah, it was like, well, duh, of course you are. We know that.
But, not to take away from the film or anything, I thought the cast did a fantastic job again. What I liked about this is you're now starting to get that vibe that they're all working together with one another. By the end of the first film, you got that. But in this one, with the way it opens, and I will say, the opening of this film was nowhere near as good as the opening of the first one. Again, it didn't have the impact that the first one had. This one was still entertaining. You're getting the comedy with gold between some of them, especially Kirk and McCoy and Spock and all that stuff here. But you're starting to see the crew mesh better here, and you're starting to get that feel of the bridge crew of the Enterprise in this one.
Very true. Very, very true.
Yeah, you get that. It's really early in their timeline, so of course, Kirk and Spock aren't yet the friends that we would know later on. So there's still a lot of conflict, they don't exactly trust one another completely like they would later.
Well, he busted him, so yeah.
Yeah. Oops. But let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about the cast. I mean, you're right; they're all fantastic, like they were in the first film. I wish I would have saw more of Simon Pegg. I didn't think he had that strong of a play in this film. But
I love Simon Pegg.
I do too. But the rest of the cast, the guest stars, and were phenomenal in this film. Like you brought up Benedict Cumberbatch. He's great in everything he does, in my opinion.
Peter Weller was amazing.
Oh, dear God, Peter Weller. Oh my God,
amazing in this role.
Yeah,
and I will throw another shout out to Bruce Campbell as Pike. It was like
Bruce Greenwood.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, got my names mixed up. Sorry about that. But yeah, Bruce Greenwood.
Yeah.
as Pike, he did such an excellent job of that. It just, when I was watching, his death scene just about brought me to tears. Especially when I was rewatching it last night. I'm sitting there and I'm just about crying at my TV screen. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. And, going back to what we talked about in the first film, one of his favorite lines in that movie is when he was talking to Kirk about his dad being a captain for only a few minutes. And again, in this film, he has something similar that is really like, man, you are really good as Pike. It's when he was talking to Kirk again. He says, you don't respect the chair. You know why? Because you aren't ready for it, I agree with you. I think Bruce Greenwood was incredible in this again.
And his death scene was probably one of the most powerful scenes in the film.
Yes.
That whole sequence I loved. But
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
here's a character that they have developed, that we do know, since he's come from the last film. So his death was a big punch for both, not just for us, but for the characters too, and it worked really well.
Yeah, because I mean, you got to see the raw emotions from Kirk, but you really haven't seen him present like he did there, where he was crying and really upset or losing. I mean, he didn't know his dad, so I mean, you would really look at Pike was kind of a father figure to him here, and him losing, that was like losing a father again, for crying out loud. One that he really knew at this point.
Yep, gotta agree. Like I said, that whole scene is from start to finish.
And then we've got our two other guest stars. We have Alice Eve as Dr. Carol Marcus. This, again, just like Khan, it was no surprise when she revealed who she was.
Right.
Yeah, true.
And again, I don't see the reason why we have to make her Carol Marcus. I just don't think they used her character to the fullest that they could have in this, because she does a great job, and she is a good actress. I've seen her. She was on the Iron Fist, the Netflix Marvel series, which I didn't.
They
like.
just needed an excuse to get her in her underwear, right?
It feels like that, doesn't it? It feels like that. But I just, she could have played any character, any other character. Again, I don't know.
No, I'm with you. She could have. Absolutely, Wayne, you're right.
And then also we have Noel Clarke playing Thomas Harewood in this film. I am familiar with this actor because he was on another TV series that I absolutely love, and that's Doctor Who.
Shocker here, I'm telling you.
Big shocker, yes.
Actually, there's 3 stars that were on Doctor Who in this movie, so I was just having a fest with this. You got,
I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, you got, don't forget Simon Pegg was on the show.
Of course, yeah.
and a lot of people don't know this, but Benedict Cumberbatch has a lot of connections to the show. He played archaeologist Howard Carter in a 2008 Doctor Who audio called 45.
Sweet.
And his mother, he actually grew up a little bit on the Doctor Who set because his mother guest starred on the show 3 times, the classic series, all the way back into the 60s through the 80s.
I didn't know that.
There's a lot of stories about during Sylvester McCoy's first episodes of a kid that was on set that he would constantly entertain while they were filming. Wasn't until years later that he was talking about Benny.
Benny.
That was
Benny and the Jets.
Yeah. So there is something for me to love in this movie.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
So let's take a short break, and then we'll be back for more of Star Trek Into Darkness. And we're back. And now let's let's dive deep a little more into this film. You guys have any thoughts about the scenes? Any parts that you really, really liked? Anything you want to bring up about the storyline or the visual effects or anything on this film?
One thing that I love about J.J. Abrams and how he is able to weave in some really comedy gold throughout his films. And he did that in the first one quite a bit. One of the scenes I absolutely love was when McCoy was following Kirk around and kept getting the shot. He's telling him, "Would you quit it?" But you get more of that comedy gold throughout this film. And one of the things I really like is when her and Spock are fighting. Yeah. And when Kirk goes hilarious. It absolutely was. When Kirk gets on the
shuttlecraft.
He's with Uhura first before they're going up to the bridge. And he goes, "Wait, are you guys fighting? What is that even like?" And then when they get to the bridge, Spock is there, and he goes, "Are your ears burning?" I lost it.
Yes, that was
I
beautiful.
lost it. But then, to go a little bit forward, when they're on the shuttlecraft and they're heading to Kronos, and they're starting that argument there, and Kirk is like, "Is this the right place to be doing this?" and then Uhura pulls Kirk and, "Oh, don't get me in the middle of this." And he does get in the middle of it. I loved all of that. It was just comedy gold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so for myself, I don't know that either of you have ever read Clive Cussler's Raise the Titanic. So and actually that they made a movie of that.
Yep.
So
I do remember that.
Okay, so which the movie sucked, but we won't go into that. That's another story for another time. The only saving glory to that film was the shot of them actually raising the ship. When the Enterprise at the very beginning of the movie come out from under the ocean to go save Spock from the volcano, that is what that puts me in mind of every time that I sit and watch this thing, and it just is like I'm 9 years old all over again.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that scene. And then another favorite actually is when John Harrison, Han, whatever, starts killing Klingons on the single-handedly on the asteroid. That is cool. And actually just watching Zoe Saldana as Uhura speak Klingon to the Klingons. That just, because again, you don't in the elder Star Trek series, you don't get that until Star Trek 6.
Yeah.
So just seeing her so early on speaking Klingon, being the badass that she is, and talking to the Klingons it's one of my favorite moments of the film.
Yeah, when Khan's kicking ass to the Klingons, you kind of get that the camera goes with Kirk. Kirk is watching him kicking ass. He's like, crap, man.
Yeah, Kirk's like, holy moly.
Yeah. So that was a cool scene. So many good ones in this. Wayne, what about you though? Yes. I'm curious what you think.
I agree with you about the opening not being as strong as the original film, but I really did like the opening though. Despite that, I thought it was a great way of just of bringing open the film, that saying that they've already been out on adventures, they're halfway through this one, and that shot of the Enterprise rising up out of the water was just absolutely incredible.
Beautiful.
And plus the shots of Spock inside the volcano too. I loved all those, and his rescue.
Revenge of the Sith vibes.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
yes, it did.
It does. You're right.
It did. But all in all, for this film, what I did like, I think the most was the three actors really have their interactions spot on with Kirk, Spock, and McCoy.
Yes, they do.
Agreed.
You can tell the characters. They're definitely playing the characters. They're very familiar. There's a lot of great banter, a lot of great lines that they have. I love when McCoy is trying to give the not inspection, but he's waving the medical devices over Kirk, and
waving the tricorders.
Yeah, and all the bickering and the argument that goes through the film between the three. It's just perfect. I think that makes probably this film bearable for me, is just watching the cast play these characters so well. Because they really do.
And yes, sir, they do indeed. And again, forgive me for stepping on you, but they really do such a good job. And I'm gonna say this, again, I'm gonna go back to Zoe Saldana. I'm probably gonna sound like a fanboy. Believe it or not, I'm not.
Nothing wrong with that.
For her to step into Nichelle Nichols' shoes, because Nichelle Nichols, dear Jesus, shout out to Nichelle Nichols, R.I.P.
Yep.
She was my favorite character. Like, my mother could tell you stories that when I was very, very young, I would sit and watch Star Trek reruns. Nichelle Nichols, Uhura, she was my favorite character forever and a day. And Zoe Saldana does her such justice, especially in this film, that it blows my mind. And I'm so glad that I was able to rewatch it and appreciate that even more.
I agree. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Wayne, I'm curious about something. If you noticed in the score, I know aren't talking about the composer yet, but Jason brought up the Klingon fight. When they're fighting, did you hear the anvil?
I did.
I'm curious if that was a nod to James Horner.
It wouldn't surprise me. He had some nods in his first Star Trek score, so I'm sure he had to think that.
Yeah.
So I know he's a big fan of both Horner and Goldsmith. So
he is.
Yeah.
Because when I watched it again, it really stood out. I'm like, wow, listen to that anvil. He was going at it. Loved it.
How about some behind the scenes? Did you guys find anything interesting about the making of the film or the production behind the scenes?
Well, I think one of the things we definitely need to discuss, or at least give a nod to, this is Leonard Nimoy's last time as Spock.
Yes.
Because he passes away in 2015 at the age of 83. So we definitely have to give a nod to that. It was good to see him again.
Live long and prosper.
That's right. Live long and prosper, Leonard Nimoy, for sure. It was good to see him get to do it one more time. And in a nice fitting spot, too, to at least be able to tell Spock, this Spock, of who Khan really is. So I thought that was very fitting.
It was kind of sad. It's such a short appearance. I'm so glad that they were able to do this, but he really is showing his age.
He is.
Really.
Yes,
And I guess
unfortunately.
with Spock, I mean, I guess at that point Spock is pretty ancient at that point too. So
He is.
About 156, give or take.
yeah. But it was great to see him again. I agree. I'm so glad they were able to get that one last appearance for Spock.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you guys notice something odd about this film? The
What's that?
Enterprise never fires a weapon.
True. Yes, I did notice that when I was watching last night. The Enterprise never fired a shot. It was like it was always weapons were down through the whole bloody film.
I never noticed that. You're right. Ah.
Yeah. That's kind of interesting, isn't
It's
it?
okay, but weapons were always down through the whole freaking film.
Yeah. I mean, it gets the crap beat out of it, but
Yes.
it never fires a shot.
Yeah, then almost hits San Francisco on top of it. So
Yeah,
raise the
absolutely.
Titanic, and then down goes the Hindenburg.
Yeah. Another thing I found interesting too is J.J. Abrams pitched the villain to Benedict as a combination of the Joker, Hannibal Lecter, and Jack Torrance from The Shining. I don't think he actually came out either to say it was Khan when Benedict was going for the role. So I found that kind of interesting. That they
Interesting and very valid because
Yeah.
I can easily see, because I'm very familiar with all three characters because I'm a fan of all three characters in general. So I can very valid. I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see, the character that Benedict played, matches that. I can't really see that description fitting the original version of Khan, though. That's very unusual. I mean, they were going for something completely different. Don't get me wrong. They were reusing an original character, but they were going for a completely different route on that. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess there was a lot of argument behind the scenes about whether to use that character or not. Khan.
Yeah.
I guess Lindelof wanted to use it, but the other writers did not, and it took a while for them to actually come to a compromise.
I still think they shouldn't have.
I agree. I still think they should have come up with an original character.
Yeah.
The reasoning for bringing him back is because they felt that the best Star Treks were the ones that had a central villain, and they're right. They're very right. But
Yes, they are.
you could have created a new one. I mean,
Of course,
Well,
you
they could have
could.
left him. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. They could have left him specifically as the person that he started out with, the John Harrison character.
Yes.
Let him
Yeah,
be
there
a
you go,
rogue,
yeah.
rogue Section 31 agent
Absolutely.
that's on crackers.
Yeah.
Do not have to, revert and say, okay, I am 300 years old. I am Khan. Let him be John Harrison. He was doing fine.
He was. I mean, it would have still worked. He
Yes,
uncovered
absolutely.
the plot of that. This admiral was wanting to create this military to fight the Klingons and go against what Starfleet stands for. So I mean, it would still fit. You didn't need Khan.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all. This story did not need Khan.
no. The best scripts, the best films, are when the characters are integral to the plot. There's a reason for having him there, and there's no reason for him to be Khan. It could be anybody.
None whatsoever.
Did you guys know R2D2's in this film?
No. Where?
Okay, if R2 made an appearance, I missed it. I admit it.
He makes an appearance. So it's exactly 1 hour and 17 minutes into this film. It's when the Vengeance fires on the USS Enterprise when they're both at warp. You can see R2D2 being sucked out into space.
Oh, son of a. You are so right. You are so right.
I hate you, David. I hate you, David,
You go
because
back and
now I
watch
got to
it.
go back and watch it again to see that.
Never seeing it. I didn't put no thought into it at the time. It was like, son of a.
Yep. Maybe excuse go back and watch it again, Wayne. You're welcome.
Yeah, I think at that point in the film, I was watching it, but not as closely as I'd like to. I was kind of getting a little bored.
Aw.
I tried looking into any like what ifs or alternate versions. There really wasn't
There's not
much to this. This was pretty straightforward script writing. The only thing I was found is that they had originally thought about calling this film Star Trek Vengeance.
Which would have worked too, I suppose. I mean, the Into Darkness thing is great, obviously, but it's kind of like going from again going back to the Star Wars thing, going from Revenge of the Jedi to Return of the Jedi. So
Well, the reason they changed this is because of Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance coming out, which I don't see any conflict there, but I
someone
understand
else
the
obviously
reasons.
did.
Oh, Wayne, they stole my subtitle. Remember, one of my scripts is called Into Darkness. and they decided to go ahead and use it. You know how they always steal ideas from us. It's okay.
I know. It's like
you two are bloody geniuses. We know.
We've been looking for that hidden microphone somewhere around our place for years. We know they're listening.
Yes.
Here, try that TV screen right behind you, Wayne.
They probably are.
All right. Well, we touched a little bit on this, but let's get into it right now. You know, of course, we can't talk about any Star Trek film without going into an in-depth discussion about the musical score.
Yeah.
And it was no question that frequent J.J. Abrams collaborator Michael Giacchino would return to score this film. The film score was recorded at the Sony Scoring Soundstage in Culver City, California on March 5th to April 3rd, 2013. Well, David, what did you think about his second take at a Star Trek score?
Just as I felt the first film felt better than this one, I feel the music is too. Don't get me wrong, I thought the score was fantastic in this one. But I think what happened was in the first one, he kind of caught me off guard because the themes that he brings to us in the first film, he brings into this one too. Which obviously, you hear as soon as the Paramount symbol starts to come up, you're getting that theme he's creating, and it's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Anytime the Enterprise, like when it's coming out of the water or it's coming up out of the clouds and stuff like that on Earth when it was falling, when the score reaches that crescendo, incredible work. And again, I'm going to talk about his love of Goldsmith and Horner. You can hear that again in all of his music that he's doing here. In this sequel. And I thought it was very fitting to the movie. I mean, when it needed to be action-packed, it was action-packed. And sometimes the music bled into what was going on screen, which is what you want. You don't want it to realize you're listening to the score when you're seeing something happen on screen. You want it to blend together beautifully, and that's exactly what he did with this movie. And it was perfect, in my opinion. It was really well done. Again, I don't think it was as good as his first round, but I still think it was fantastic.
Jason, what did you think about the score?
Okay, so being fresher on this, I'm going to have to go back and break down and watch the first film again here sometime shortly. But upon my rewatch last night, so let me backtrack for just a second and say I am a music person to begin with. I live, breathe, and die for music that interests me. So a lot of my enjoyment of this film actually is the musical cues. As y'all were saying, the whole action when it needs to be action, subtle when it needs to be subtle, thriller when it needs to be thriller, blends together beautifully. And I would actually listen to this on a loop, just the music, just to sit and chill by. Beautiful score all the way around.
It is a very beautiful score, but and I agree that I think his first film was a little bit stronger, but of course it was all original. Right. He really reused a lot of themes from that, and there are some parts where it just felt like that it was a little bit of a rehash, but he did create some new themes for this, which I absolutely love. I love the fact that he used piano. David, I love piano and scores.
Oh yeah, I know you do.
And there's very little, Star Trek doesn't use piano very often. Cliff Idleman used it in Star Trek 6, but Goldsmith kind of stayed away from it completely. And I was so glad to hear that. I love that nice little theme. And then also, I have to point out that choir. You love choir.
Yeah. I love choir. Yep.
That is, that they were actually chanting the Klingon language in that. Wonderful, wonderful, and very powerful piece.
Yeah.
So it's a great score. I do love it. I think it's probably the weakest of the three, but that's saying that it's still, I'm not putting it down. Definitely don't want anyone to get the impression that I'm putting it down, because it is a wonderful score. He's a great composer anyways.
He is. He's fantastic. Anything he does, it's great. So I got another little tidbit. It's kind of like, I guess it would be kind of an Easter egg. Yeah. Do you know that when Spock and Khan are fighting at the end, that he slipped in the score from A Mock Time, where Kirk and Spock are fighting to death? Did you?
Actually,
did you
yes,
hear
I
that
did.
in the score?
I thought it was my imagination, but yes, I did
too.
Check that out when I was watching it last night.
He did it.
Yeah, I re-listened to the score earlier today, and I was the same way. I thought maybe I was just imagining it.
No, he did.
Okay,
that's awesome.
I know.
That is great. That's
touch.
awesome.
Yep.
Now, the film soundtrack was first released a week after the film by a very Sarah band on May 21st of 2013 on CD. It contained 15 tracks equaling 47 minutes of score, which also included the song The Growl, composed by J.J. Abrams and Charles Scott, with vocals by Cassia Conway. A year later, in accordance to Paramount's desire to see all the Star Trek musical scores receive a complete release, Very Saraband brought it out again, this time as Star Trek Into Darkness, the deluxe edition. It was available through their online CD club, and now it was featuring nearly 119 minutes of music on 51 tracks, which is the complete score, along with 2 suites of themes newly written for the film, including that piano piece that I absolutely love. The original release is still widely available for anyone, but the deluxe edition is out of print on CD, but it is still available through the Very Saraband website as a digital download if you'd like to own it and add it to your collection.
Nice.
No, I'm a vinyl nut. I need it on vinyl or I don't want it.
It is out on vinyl. They did bring it out on vinyl too.
Oh, did they?
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes, it's on I believe it's a 3 LP set. I forgot all about that.
Because I would take every minute of the score to this movie seriously. Because the music is just and you keep going on about the piano piece. Mm-hmm. I too love piano music quite a bit. You know, Elton John's one of my favorite people, so
mine too.
Know.
I love 70s music, so yeah.
Amen.
Nothing wrong with that.
All right, well, we've just discovered some tribbles in our engineering, so we're going to take a break right now, and we'll be back shortly. All right, we got those all cleared out and shot off into space. So let's get back to our discussion with Star Trek Into Darkness. We talked a little bit about our favorite moments. Are there anything else you guys would like to bring up about what you liked or didn't like about this film?
So the whole sequence of the Enterprise falling to Earth, getting pulled down by gravity, I thought all of that was filmed incredibly well.
Yes.
The special effects and how they were just able to make that look as good as they did is just mind-blowing. Mm-hmm. You know, when things are falling down and twisting and turning and just, you know, it just amazes me. Every time when I've watched it the second time, I just watching it and just amazed. And you lose track of things because you're paying attention to one spot of the screen and something else is happening on the other side of the screen because so much is going on that it's easy to miss stuff. But that whole sequence I thought I cannot imagine having to put that down and planning that, Wayne. You know, you and I have done some filmmaking and planning some stuff out. Can you imagine sitting down and actually storyboarding that entire sequence?
Oh gosh, that would take forever.
Yeah.
At least 6 months.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I wonder how many storyboarders they had on this, because that's a lot of drawings. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, the cuts, just the whole planning out is just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And it was an incredible scene.
Yeah, and when they finally got it together and it falls through the clouds, but then it comes back up through the clouds, and then again you get that amazing score. Love that scene so much.
And Dave, I'm gonna agree with you. That scene and another work of mine, I live by association. That scene very much reminds me of the scene in the original Planet of the Apes of the Icarus crashing to what we would later find out to be Earth. Just the different point of views, and as you said, you know, on one side of the screen one thing's happening, on the other side of the screen something else is happening. Just lots and lots of action, beautifully done. The effects are out of this world. So yeah, I'm going to absolutely agree with you. That is a fabulous scene.
Oh yeah, I agree 100% too. Actually, that's what I was going to bring up. The ending, I would say about the last 20-25 minutes of the film, just absolutely phenomenal, and the visual effects are outstanding. Of course, it's ILM, so of course they're fantastic, but they really outdid themselves. Some of the most beautiful effects I've ever seen in Star Trek.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they should have been tipped grandly for their work on Into Darkness.
that definitely was Star Trek at its finest when it comes to sci-fi, right there.
Yes.
That whole ending sequence was just incredible. And then when you think it's done, oh no, it's not. Because Khan still has to crash down, and then he gets out, and then Spock goes after him. It's just, that whole sequence was just amazing.
Yeah,
I agree. It was fabulous.
Yep. But for dislikes, Wayne, I think we kind of talked about some of the dislikes that we have on this. You know, a few eye rolls for me. One was when he said his name. But then, I mentioned this earlier in the podcast, it's the whole reversal of Kirk, you know, sacrificing himself now instead of Spock. And I really felt the whole Spock thing when he yells Khan was kind of, like they did that on purpose because everyone knows from the Wrath of Khan when Kurt yells Khan, and I just, okay, sure, but it just, again, another eye roll for me when I saw this for the first time.
It's a lot of eye rolls because to anyone that has seen and loves Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, yes, it's like, why are you doing all this? Yeah, exactly, all of us. Why are you doing this? Why are you bringing it back? Why are you changing all this stuff? Now, to anyone that's never seen the film, okay, yeah, sure, then you might love that, and that's probably why it had a lot of mixed 50-50 reviews on this film. A lot of people loved it, a lot of people hated it. I can see why.
Yeah, I agree.
Myself, I can understand like a tribute or an homage or just a poke in to say, hey, yeah, we know you. But I'm with you again, Dave. Lots of eye roll moments. The whole Khan thing, I wanted to. It's not very often I want to like kick a TV, but it's just like, oh my god. And some of the other various things that Wayne was bringing up, and it's just like, we know because of course we lived through it all. The millennials will be fine, but for us that like know, it's just like, damn it.
Yep, we grew up with it. We know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Well, the bottom line, from my opinion, is if it's you're doing a retelling of a bad film, then that's one thing. You want to make it better than the bad film. But if you're going to do a retelling of one of the best films, not just in the Star Trek franchise, but sci-fi in general, you better have the most perfect script ever. Otherwise, you're going to be torn apart.
Yep.
And that's what happened with this film.
Yep.
Wasn't necessary. It wasn't necessary to have this film torn apart. Because if you take out all those elements, it's not that bad of a film.
I agree.
No,
I agree.
I agree wholeheartedly. And I'm going to say this, even though, again, R.I.P. Leonard Nimoy. Take out his piece of it and take out the fact that John Harrison identifies as Khan, and you have the same perfectly good movie without all this unnecessary like baggage.
Yep. Yes. Exactly. All right, let's take a look at some film facts. Everything about the film that I found fascinating and at times somewhat humorous. All right, you two, did you find anything about the film that you'd like to bring up?
So there's a few things I found very interesting about this. One of the things I found humorous was when Kirk tells Chekhov to change shirts.
Yes,
that's right.
Put on a red shirt, and he kind of like pauses for a second. Like, oh, okay, I thought that was fantastic.
We all know about red shirts. I don't know if I'd want to put that on.
And it was immortalized. I'm going to test you guys' actual musical knowledge here for just a sec. It was immortalized in the song "Beam Me Up, Scotty" by local Chicago group Aliota Haynes and Jeremiah in about 1972 or so on their Lakeshore Drive album. Everybody knows what the red shirts mean.
Yes, they do. They sure do. Yep. Did you see one of the shuttles was named after George Takei?
Yes, I did. I love that.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool, man.
That's very, very cool.
I love
as should have, because George Takei is awesome. He's absolutely he did Sulu so wonderfully, and here taking you in a little bit of a different direction. If y'all one of the few John Wayne movies I can sit through, The Green Berets, he was awesome in that.
Yes, that's right.
Yep, absolutely.
George Takei was very, very cool. And I'm gonna say this, going back to I think not real long ago, you guys did Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. I was mad that George Takei did not get his scene where he's supposed to have the extended scene where he met his great grandfather or whatever. I was pulling for that. That irritated my soul. Even as a kid, that irritated me.
I agree. It's a pity they didn't have that in the film. I love that bit too.
Yes.
And another one that I caught too, Wayne. I'm pulling you on this one. It seems like I caught so many in these. It's usually you who's getting all these.
There's a few of them.
This one I actually caught when I saw this in the theater back in 2013. I was like, oh hey, that's kind of cool. When Sulu commands the crew to prepare the transport captured during the mud incident last month, I thought that was awesome. The nod to mud.
I missed that too. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my touch.
Wait, what's going on, man? You're usually on top of this stuff.
It went right over my head. All right. Well, what I did catch a few things. Believe it or not, I was paying attention to the film when I was watching it. All right.
Yes, you were. You're a professional.
What I did notice is that this is the first Star Trek film to use the new and current 2012 Paramount Pictures logo.
Mm-hmm.
Which sucks, but that's just me.
The writers of this film have stated that this film is roughly 6 months to a year after the previous film, Star Trek. And one I did notice is the little models in Admiral Marcus's office. Those were very familiar as they quickly walked by. It was the Ares 5, the Phoenix, of course, from First Contact. Mm-hmm. We got the USS Enterprise 330, which was seen on the wall of in Star Trek: The Motion Picture on the Enterprise. I can't think of the name of the room, the entertainment, the big room that they all met in. There, of course, was the Enterprise NX-01, Archer's ship, and then the USS Kelvin and the Vengeance. And then they brought up Section 31.
Section 31.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, we are very familiar. We've been talking a little bit about this recently. First appeared in the later seasons of Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Amen, which is my Star Trek right there. I that is actually the only Star Trek series that I actually physically own the whole series to.
Excellent. We'll be talking about that series very shortly this year.
Yep.
Cool.
But they also appeared in Star Trek Enterprise, Star Trek Discovery, and the recently released Section 31 film on Paramount Plus.
Section 31.
Now, this one, I heard the number and I made a mark about it, but I actually had to look this one up to make sure I was correct. But the number of torpedoes that had Khan's crew in it was 72. That's the number of members that had survived with Khan back in the original series, Space Seed. So that is correct. Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. I did not make that immediate connection myself, but yeah, that sounds about right. It's been a minute since I watched Space Seed, I admit it.
And then the big meeting at Starfleet Command took place in the Daystrom conference room. We all know who Daystrom is. He was introduced in the original series, The Ultimate Computer, and mentioned in lots of Star Trek episodes, and most recently in Star Trek Picard. Now, this is another thing that I had to look and check to make sure that this was correct. But when they did the shot of the Klingon home world in space, Kronos, you can actually see the remains of the moon Praxis.
Really?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I missed that.
Yeah, how it got destroyed so early on, decades before it did in Star Trek 6, I don't know, but it's there.
Interesting.
And then finally,
sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. That's it was like I said, I saw it, wasn't sure. I mean, I saw the moon. I knew that it had Kronos has a moon, and I wanted to make sure that it was the same one I did. Now, this film had a lot of tie-in merchandise to go along with it, just like the previous film. There was the novelization of the film, again written by Alan Dean Foster. IDW Publishing solicited a 4-issue prequel comic for this film, titled Star Trek Countdown into Darkness. Like the previous film's comic book prequel, Star Trek Countdown, which was done for the first film, it was written by Mike Johnson and drawn by David Messina, great artist. Hasbro released Creo and Fighter Pod toys to promote the film. Plus, Mattel released 3 new Hot Wheels Star Trek Into Darkness models. Quantum Mechanics released a number of prop replicas based on the flight models that you've seen that I just mentioned, as well as a phaser, tricorder, and communicator. And there was a video game titled Star Trek, released just before this film premiered. It was actually made for the first film, but Paramount had them hold it off and release it for this film. And that's what I found.
Nice.
I have one more in-joke reference that they put in the film that I absolutely loved.
Yeah.
So do you remember when Scotty was on the ship and the security guard came up, he goes, "What are you doing?" Mm-hmm. And he puts his other hand behind him, and the security guard goes, show me your other hand. That's in reference to James Doohan, because he never showed both hands on screen.
Yes, brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Love it. Learn something new every day listening to you two.
Yep.
All right. How about our final thoughts on Star Trek Into Darkness? Anything else you'd like to contribute?
So I think we kind of covered a lot of our bases on this. this is a proof that when you've seen a movie a long time ago and you didn't really like it, give it another chance down the road. After this long period of time of me not seeing it again, watching it for the podcast, I do appreciate this film a lot more now than I did then. So definitely take that opportunity when you have a situation where you didn't like a film at first. Give it a second shot. Who knows? You may like it. You may like it like I do this one. Again, if they would have removed Khan from this movie would have been completely a better film in my opinion, because you didn't need him at all.
Agreed.
Yep, that sums it up completely for me. Yeah.
Yeah, same. Let John Harrison be John Harrison. He does not need to be Khan. Like I said, I love, like you said, Wayne, of course, it was beautiful that they gave the spot to Leonard Nimoy. Yeah. But I did, on the other side of that, feel that it was not necessary, per se, to move the story forward to get to where they needed to go. Right. If I was doing like a fan edit of this, that'd be one of several things that I probably would remove. I got to do like the Highlander 2 Renegade edit or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. And that concludes our look back at the film Star Trek Into Darkness. We'd like to open a subspace channel to our listeners and hear just what you thought about this entry into the Star Trek universe. Your stories of how you saw it first, and your opinions of the film today. Who knows? You might even mention or appear on a future show.
Like Jason.
Yes.
Yes. Again, thank you for allowing me on your bridge.
Yeah. Jason, it's been a pleasure, man. We love having fans like us to come join us, talk about what we love. And we all love Star Trek, so it's always nice when we can get together and break it down.
Yes. Oh yeah, this has been nothing but fun. Yeah, like I said, again, I watched it just to make sure, I wasn't like conflating my movies or whatever. So I made sure I watched it before I went to bed last night. Yeah. And yes, this has been such fun. And again, I love listening to you too. Anyway, go back and forth. It's beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Star Trek is a great way to meet friends. This is how David met.
Yep.
Nice.
And we're so happy that you're on the show.
Absolutely.
And again, I thank you so much for even putting up with me for an hour. I appreciate it so much.
It's been a pleasure, man. It really has.
Same.
Wayne, I gotta say, I'm kind of worried about something because when Scott left for shore leave, I think he had a red shirt on.
Oh dear.
I think you're right. We better send a security detachment to check on him.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Of course, you can email at us at afilmbypodcast@gmail.com. Find us online at afilmbypodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And if you're looking for more exclusive content or swag, you can join our Patreon and find out what incredible gems are hidden within. Thank you, David, for joining me and the listeners for another fascinating discussion. And a great big thank you to our number one fan, Jason Coslet, for coming onto our show and talk about Into Darkness.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Jason.
Thank you. You guys have a great one.
You too.
Thank you.
And if you haven't already done so, go back and check out our podcast reviews of the other films and TV shows in the Star Trek universe. And then join us again soon, where we reach the end of our journey into the Star Trek film franchise, for now, when we talk about 2016's Star Trek Beyond. Let's see if they can go beyond hacking up old and classic ideas and come up with something fresh and exciting. And we hope that everyone will join us again for that discussion on the next episode of Phasers Set to Stun.